This is the Visual Developers Podcast with your hosts, Lacey Kessler, Matt Varghese, and Ben Parker. Interviews, no-code reviews, tutorials, and more, we're here to talk about all things no-code.
Hey everybody, Ben here with Visual Dev FM, back with another episode, and I'm joined as always by my co-hosts, Lacey and Matt.
Heyo.
Heyo.
Okay.
Stop.
You know,
Run.
I'm going to, let's just, hold on. Before we even get into this, I know I didn't say we were going to talk about this, but the note that you forwarded to the Visual Dev FM Slack, I realize that people think I am an asshole in real life to Lacey. And so
You are.
No, that's not
You
true.
are.
That is not true. Let the record
Ben,
show.
did he not just say he effing hated me like 5 minutes ago? Didn't he say that?
No comment. I'm gonna ride the fence in this argument.
Anyways, if you're new to this podcast and you listen to the previous episodes and you think I actually hate Lacey, we're fine. She's tolerable. We'll leave it at that much. But yes, just rest assured, I'm not bullying her in real life.
Yes, he is.
Get out of here.
The hate is fake. The hate is fake. Well, we're glad you're all with us. We announced last week we're coming back with 2 episodes a week. We hope to start that in the next week or two, where we're Monday and Thursday. Monday with a no-code roundup. Thursday with interviews. We're booking all the interviews right now, and so I want to tell you a little bit about who is going to be on the show coming up. So, folks who we've talked to so far who have said yes. I know we don't have them scheduled yet, but Aaron and Connor, Code Meets No Code. We have a few folks from Webflow who are going to come and talk accessibility. Monica Corimone, who some of you know from the community. Ruben, one of our engineers. Jordan Shotwell from Crew is going to come talk to us, which we're really excited about. And then we also have Mason from Edgar Allan is helping us get Kendra and Sophia, who spoke at No Code Conf, to come talk about content first, design, and really diving into that world, which we're really excited about. And also, no big deal, but Vlad, CEO of Webflow, going to be coming on the show. Scheduling that too, so a lot of really great guests that are coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Who's the last one? Your dad? What did you say?
Enough with the Vlad jokes already. We'll get plenty of those when he enters the chat. Excited to have him on and to talk to him. So lots of great guests coming, and then in March we will do just like we did. Previous years, we're going to celebrate Women's Month, and Lacey's going to completely Women's History Month, right? Is that the right way?
Women's Month?
Women's History Month, right? Is that right? Wait, hold on. I'm Googling it. March is Women's...
It's Women's History Month.
It's Women's History Month. That's what I said.
Women's Month sounds like the month that everyone's having a period or something. It's Women's
I get ripped when I make one mistake on this show all the time. If you talk enough on a microphone, you're going to get
What was the last one? Happy Giver. That's what it was.
See, I'll never live it down. Women's History Month. And we've got great guests that are going to come in there, too. Lacey's going to drive that. You won't really have to listen to Matt and I very much that month. We will be taking a step back, and we're going to let Lacey do all the work, which we're really excited about. We're going to take all the credit. That's how we're dividing the responsibilities for the podcast.
Isn't it
funny
that to celebrate women, as the only woman on this podcast, I'm the one doing all the work for that month? You bastard.
That's not true. We'll all be working. We're all excited about it. It's going to be a great month. So I'll say all that to say lots of great guests coming up. Lots of really fun things happening. And we're really excited about it. So stay tuned. Lots of great interviews. If you know any of the people on that list, I know you're going to be excited. And many, many more for the rest of the year that we're working on. So just hang with us, and we'll have those rolled out before too long. But since we have no interview this week, that means this is a no-code roundup episode, so you all get to hear about all the things that are new in no-code. Let's dive in. First things first, the Figma to Webflow course is on its way, which is pretty exciting. If you saw the trailer, anytime Sarah is laughing at McGuire in a Webflow video, for some reason, I find it hilarious, and I can't quit laughing at it. And I've watched that trailer no less than 10 times today because I thought it was so funny. So I'm really excited about the course. I think it's going to be really, really awesome, and really pumped about it. And in fact, not Webflow, well, it is Webflow related, but not Webflow related, Edgar Allan related. Edgar Allan is releasing a Figma to Webflow template framework as well, which is going to be really awesome. Super excited about that. And Chesly, what's Chesly's role at Edgar Allan, Matt?
Creative director, as I understand.
So the creative director has a tweet thread about this framework that you can read. Link in the show notes if you want to check that out. Also Webflow related, Nelson and Vlad did their first quarterly stream this year, which was really fun. They did talk about Figma to Webflow, and of course, Matt and Lacey, they talked about the question that came up is no code comp happening this year, and when is it happening? And no surprise, there is going to be a no code comp. We don't know the exact dates, but it's going to be in November. Are we all three committing now if there's not the 7,000th wave of coronavirus that we're all going to be there? Like, is this what's...
I will 100% be there because I have yet to go to an in-person no-code conference, and the both of you have. So clearly I'm missing out.
I guess if Matt goes, I'm not going
You
to
know,
go.
I take it back. My hate for
No.
Lacey is very real, and it's in
And
real.
it wasn't even in person, and Lacey was there this year, so she's got
I
a leg
know,
up on both
that's
of us.
true.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. Like, I want it to be in person so bad because I would love to see y'all. It'd be fun if we could do like some podcasting from there, and then to see so many awesome people from the community and just the Webflow team, and it would be so awesome. I can't imagine like a more excited group to get together. Like, I feel like it would just explode with so much fun. So I really, really hope we're able to do it.
Can't wait. I want to start like a bookie service on, and like try to get a line on who the big guests are going to be this year, because I didn't have Trevor Noah in my guesses of who was going to be a part of No Code Comp, so I can't imagine how Webflow is going to top it this year. I just know
Who
that
would you want?
they probably
Who would you
will.
want to hear from? Who's at the top of your list?
Who would I want to, like, are we... I don't know. See, I think this is hard because Trevor Noah wasn't on my list, but I do want to hear from Trevor Noah, and I didn't know how bad I wanted that interview, right? I feel like this is just like...
And I'm so
really...
bummed because I missed that interview because I was traveling, and it's not online. So I'll never get to relive it. Womp womp. But
Bum, bum, bum.
I don't even know.
I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm
So
everybody want to hold real quick. Pause. I'm going to try to
he
relive
walks
this.
onto stage, and yeah. I don't know who I would hear from. Lacey, who do you want to hear from right now? Who's your number one?
Oh gosh, you know, I'm kind of like with Ben, where it's like I had this person on my list, but like didn't realize how much I enjoyed it. So Debbie Millman, she was also like a huge speaker at the conference, and I enjoyed her and Mariah's talk so much. I've just replayed it in my mind like so many times and revisited my notes. Good. It was so good. I don't know who. I mean, everybody. You know, like I think of like all these people.
What
that
a politician's answer! Get out of here. Be more specific.
This is what happens when you start working at an organization that's like really
you
big.
Are a corporate tool. Give us a specific answer.
A corporate tool. I really don't know. I think I would like to hear like one of my favorite people that I would love to see speak at anything would be Brene Brown, because I would love to hear her talking about creating from a place of empathy and vulnerability. Yeah, her, Michelle Obama, like Sarah Blakely. I mean,
maybe we can get all three of them onto the podcast. You know,
I know.
In their ample free time, they can fit in Visual Dev FM podcast.
Yeah. I'll send them our stats.
I love it. Well, so everybody listening, make sure that you go ahead and tell your boss you're probably going to be taking PTO in November, or taking time off, or going to a work-related conference, or whatever it might be. And get ready. I'm pretty excited about it. Airtable has launched 2 new features. The first is bulk filled actions. And this allows you to, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but you select multiple fields and bulk edit, update them at the same time, which I got to tell you, I am more excited about this feature than I should be, because I can't tell you how many times I've needed to update multiple fields and I find myself, selecting them and copy and pasting in weird ways. And so it's nice to see this come to life. The second is they've improved what expanding a record looks like, and the ability to kind of scroll and navigate within those. And it's a much more comfortable experience. Link in the show notes if you want to check out what that looks like. But I absolutely love it. And I think the link in the show notes here gives you a good look at a Twitter thread that kind of covers a lot of the big improvements. So it's a good quality of life enhancement from the Airtable team. Speaking of quality of life enhancements, Coda now gives you the ability to globally set your first day of the week. And you might say, who cares? But I love this because I think it's very inclusive. For a lot of people, their first day of the week is not Monday, San Francisco. People around the globe, starting, and I work on a team that's very global. We have people all across the world, and so we've got people starting their Monday is my Sunday. They live in the future. Like, I log on Thursday, and they're like saying Happy Friday, and I'm like, oh. I'm jealous. It's your Friday already. But anyway, I love this feature. I think it's very inclusive. I think it's really cool. So, kudos to the Coda team. So, Code Meets No Code, Aaron and Connor, they have launched a course on Stripe payment links. So, if you've been wondering, like, hey, how can I take payments like outside of an e-commerce system, use Stripe payments, they have you covered. I looked through the overview for this course. It's very detailed, and I think it's going to be super helpful for some of you who might be looking to sell content. Definitely check this out, link in the show notes. If you haven't signed up for Code Meets No Code, that community is really fun. And I think if you're on the more technical side of the spectrum, then you really will enjoy the community, because there's a lot of really fun, more deep in the weeds conversations happening about no-code builds and how to incorporate code and what are some of the things happening with these API calls, and how do you overcome these different pieces. A lot of really smart people in there helping each other out. So if you haven't joined yet, definitely go check it out. So you've seen the Made in Webflow hashtag. Now there is Made with Softr. After Softr has just grown by leaps and bounds, and I feel like for 12 episodes straight last year, at the end of the year, it was like, Softr released this, Softr released that. This is a brand new thing from the Softr team. And now they're starting to show off some of these things people have been making with it, especially out of their Series A. Just lots of really cool, big things happening with Softr. And so I think this is pretty cool. And we talked about the Series A last week, but just a really, really, really awesome thing from their team to see. There's nothing more, I'll never forget, when I started working at Webflow, one of the things that, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, do we have a channel that says, where everybody shares things they see made in Webflow? And so it's really cool to just see naturally come across sites that they're like, oh, I did not know this company used Webflow. That's really awesome. So I know how cool it is to see people building really great things and bigger companies using it. So stoked for their team to kind of see some of these highlights. This next one I think is pretty cool too. I don't know all the details, so I'm not going to talk to you like an authority in this. But if you want to get paid to build in public, I know it's a big thing, build in public. And by the way, it's not my personal favorite phrase, but build in public. I love watching people work through issues, work through problems, talk publicly about the challenges they're facing. If you're one of those people who's been wanting to do that, or you do that already, and you're building in Bubble is willing to pay you to do that. So if you're hey, I'm already building in public and I'm already using Bubble, there's a link in the show notes for you to apply to be a part of this program, where they will pay you to post weekly about all these different pieces that you're building. So I think this is really cool. I would love to see more companies doing this actually, because I don't know, one of the big things with building public is like people fail and then you're learning from that. I just think there's so many good things that come out of
It's
that.
a total win-win, because I saw this thread, I think on earlier today on Twitter, and it was like, if I'm running a company and I have $10,000, what are you going to do? And a lot of the comments in that thread were, oh, I'd love to do influencer things or get people, real users, to post about using my product or buying my product or whatever. And that was like in the direct-to-consumer space, but like that also applies to SaaS companies too. And so I feel like this will be the trend in no code, where it's like, hey, I raised money and people are using our product and I want people to talk about it more. And so let's pay you to build in public. I actually like this. I wish it was around when I was first starting, and that way I could have taken that capital. But yeah, it's a cool thing to have.
No doubt. Like if you go search the Webflow forum, you'll find like 15 things that I've posted and built. I know nobody's paying me to do that. I wish I was getting money for it. That would have been great. Lacey? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your toes.
You didn't. I was just gonna roast Matt, and it was really gonna be.
No, get out of here, Lacey. Get shut down.
It was really gonna be something nice, but
no, it wasn't. How can you be a roast and be nice?
No, nice for me. It was gonna be a nice roast.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And yet there's the misconception that Matt's the bully. That's what I don't...
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
I love it. Well, I do want to talk about some fun new tools. So last week, out of the podcast, one of our followers tweeted about us being glad we were back. Which thank you to all four of you. No, it's a joke. Joel Whitaker posted about that, and Joel has built some tools. Started like perusing through Joel's Twitter profile, and saw that he had built a tool called MiddleLink and a tool called Components.io. MiddleLink is it's a really neat tool. I have access already, and so thank you, Joel. And I'm starting to like mess around. I've gone through the onboarding, started to kind of like, play with some different pieces, but it's essentially a way to build back-end flows, but then return that data back to the front end of the browser. So like Zapier, but not, because you can get the data back and display it to the user, and it kind of gives you an endpoint that you can then use on the front end. You can think of it like no code API, but instead of with no code API, you have to you get an endpoint, then you have to write all the code yourself. They have a visual builder, which is super powerful. They have a Webflow module. They have authentication worked in, so you can do things with MemberStack and Outceda. I never say it right. Somebody's going to tweet me about it. That's okay. And it's a really, really, really awesome tool. Props to Joel. It's linked in the show notes if you want to check it out. I think it's MiddleLink.io. And definitely go and request access. Give it a look, because I think this is going to be a pretty fun tool. And then from the same maker, Components.io, which, if you're like me and way into the weeds, we talked about a tool that's similar to this last week. It allows you to use Webflow to build React components. So I think this is super awesome. Cannot wait to actually get started with this either. But if you are kind of more in that end, more technical end of the no-code, low-code spectrum, where you're doing a lot of coding or working with bigger frameworks like a React framework, this is definitely for you. So link in the show notes to check that out. And props to Joel. Thanks for being so open and sharing with this. It's pretty cool.
Does anyone else just get so excited about this kind of stuff? I feel like we do, because we have a podcast and it's centered around these kind of new releases. But I just get so excited seeing the creativity come out of the community, especially the Webflow community. All these things that are being built on top of Webflow, it's just so exciting. And I love that they're sticking with the simplicity of copying, pasting, and like I'm looking through the wording for the middleware and then the components.io, and it's using like language that people understand. It's not using like very deep techie, complicated language, and it just makes me so excited for like where are we going to be in like 6 months or a year or beyond.
I think we did a whole interview around that where we need to like roast ourselves in the next year or two, like go back and look at our
predictions and
predictions, and then do a freezing cold takes on. We'll do that. We'll do that at some point this year. Yeah, I love it. I'm also excited to see what comes out of it because I think people are just building very creative, very amazing stuff, and just super impressed with the work that's being done. So definitely go check those out. I was wondering if anybody here is using Unito. This is going to be one of those things where I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. I'm going to go with Unito. But shout out to John from Coda who posted this in our Slack. And the byline, I think, is what got everybody's attention. It is sort of like as one of these Zapier automation type tools, but the tagline says, "Go beyond Zapier with deep bidirectional flows." So it's a big talk, and I have not used it. I'm excited to give this a spin. I actually put this on my list of things to try, but the tools and the integrations that they have are a little different. It's not like a lot of them feel like more back-end type things, like it's Notion and Monday and Intercom and Salesforce and Smartsheet, instead of like Webflow is not listed, Bubble's not listed. Those aren't things that are on there. So it seems more like more office, day-to-day work, automation of your daily tasks that this would power. But looks pretty neat.
This is the direction that automation apps, like no-code apps, go, because it serves like some of that. I mean, there are massive companies using Zapier and Airtable and all these things, quite clearly. But this one, the thing that I'm very interested in on this page is their social proof section, which has these people using the Unito, let's call it that. The Washington Post, HP, Netflix, Tesla, Uber, Harvard, New Balance, Logitech, like huge names. And so I feel like this is the direction things are going to go, where it's like it's going to start serving more enterprises that are looking to automate back office operations rather than any one of us taking a CMS item and doing one of a million things with it. But that's my prediction. We'll look back in a year in our yearly review episode or whatever that we'll do and see how wrong I was.
Making a note now. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It looks really great. So if you're using it, we'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Proflow looks pretty amazing. Proflow sends Webflow jobs and projects to your inbox every Monday. So if you are a Webflow visual developer and you're looking to pick up work building in Webflow, whether that's a full-time job or that is you're just looking to do some freelance, pick up some opportunities, this is something that you need to go sign up for. Also, their website is really cool, by the way. I think they did a really good job putting it together. It's wonderful.
I've been sitting here just refreshing the page and just using the mouse all over it to get the effect of what it's doing, and I'm having a lot of fun.
As you move the mouse over the page, it reveals things that are in the background. It kind of draws them out, so it's pretty neat. It's a great design, and it's a great concept. And again, I think we've talked about this a couple times recently, but from when we started the podcast where Webflow full-time gigs were kind of not real to like people are delivering multiple gigs to your inbox every Monday, really cool. So definitely check it out. And Matt would probably say he's still hiring too. So there are opportunities.
100%. And yeah, 8020.inc/careers if you want to join.
I love it. Has anyone seen Cider? Once again, it sounds like apple cider when you say it that way. Siter.io. It's from DesignModo. It is another site builder.
I thought it was sitter.
That's so funny.
I thought it was sitter. Oh, it's been a long week, y'all. Okay, all right. Cider.
is so this is like an online design tool with, they say they advertise an online design tool with no coding to think about. And it's a drag and drop builder, a place for you to build, layouts, websites, and then publish them. And, they have the different frameworks or different responsive screens that you can work through. It looks pretty neat. Their pricing is pretty great. And so if you've been looking for a tool, go give this a shot. It just looks like a really interesting. I love their design of their site. I love the way the tool looks. It looks very simple and approachable. Just looks like a great thing to dive into. So if you've been looking for a more approachable site builder, definitely go check this out. So we don't talk about SquareSpace a lot, but we do talk about it. We talked not too long ago. We talked about some of the new features they launched at the end of last year. There's a new tool out called SquareKicker that looks pretty awesome. SquareKicker is it's an extension or a tool that you pay for that sits on top of Squarespace that allows you to add things to a Squarespace site that ought not be there, I guess is the way to say it, or isn't normally there. They do not have a tool to let you do it, to do some of these things. So if you've been looking for specific layouts, animations, did I say something wrong, Matt? Go ahead.
That's a perfect way to put it. I love that. I love that.
I think this is like one of the cutest things I've ever heard. Ought not be there. Like, yes, Father.
It's one of those things like Squarespace. You're just used to these like rigid templates or like these things they have. And so really looking at the Squarespace site where they've really pushed it out of the box, it's really cool. But, things to keep in mind because it is an extension and they're building on top of Squarespace. If Squarespace were to change something, it could break functionality. So, there are pros, there are cons. But if you are a Squarespace builder and you love that ecosystem and you've been looking to add some really cool features to your Squarespace sites, this is a tool that you need to take a look at. SquareKicker.com. Link in the show notes if you want to check that out. And then lastly, I found this club. It's called the Zero Code Club. And it's not Zero Code, the folks who work on Bubble Temple. That's a different Zero Code. This is Zero Dash Code. And they have it's essentially a boot camp for non-technical entrepreneurs to learn, build, and launch with no code. And if you look at the stack that they teach you, I think it's great. Their design pieces are Canva. They use Softr, MailerLite, Zapier, Airtable, Softr, Zapier, Glide, Adalo. I feel like it's really approachable. A lot of no-code boot camps or learning I've seen, it feels like they're trying to get you into something like Bubble and Webflow instantly. And those, like the stretch is pretty big. It's a lot harder to dive into some of those. They're much more technical. They can be pretty advanced. I love the focus on some more non-technical tools or less technical tools that are going to be easier to approach. And the pricing is really, it's great. I think they're charging too little. I would tell them to charge more. But I love this, and you should check it out. I don't know, Matt, Lacey, do you know anybody who's involved with this? Because I don't know the folks behind it.
No, I don't, but I would like to. I would like to know who they are and how we can support them more. I think this is really exciting.
I do find it interesting that we're seeing more and more things do include Softr in their curriculum, which I feel like is a really good sign, both for Softr and for people wanting to learn it. Because I feel like probably when they even last year, like Softr, existed, but were there that many tutorials or were that many people building with it back then? I'm sure there were people building with it, but we just didn't know, who's making content around this. And so it's good to see it.
Yeah, I love it. And I think I love that their focus is non-technical entrepreneur, and that's not a knock at Softr at all. I mean, the whole selling point of Softr is put your data in Airtable, turn it into a site with very low effort. And I think really helping people supercharge their ability to do that and stand up a business and start making money, is great. I think that I was reading an article this past week talking about the Great Resignation and how many people have gone into business for themselves. I think there's a lot of people who have great ideas on how to make money on the internet and how to support themselves and their families, and just lack those pieces. And so this is just more democratizing the web and giving people access. And so I really like it. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's really cool. All right. And that is this week's No Code Roundup. Unless, Matt Lacey, did I miss something? Is there anything that we should add?
No.
I always feel like I do this roundup and it's like I left something out.
Because we always do. We always do.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah, there will be a big announcement like right after we release this. No,
Yeah.
I don't think we left anything out. I wish we could leave Matt out, but that's it.
You deserve any bad thing that comes your way, Lacey.
Ouch! Ouch! I'm gonna pray for you.
You can't. Wait, how are you gonna make me feel? You know what? Let's just end this.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Like I said, be excited. Some great interviews coming up. We have some awesome folks who are going to be coming on the show talking about a lot of really fun things. And it may seem Webflow heavy here at first, but we're kind of theming some things. So through the year, you'll see us focusing on different tools and different areas of the no-code space. So hope you enjoy it, and hope you'll have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to VisualDev.fm. You can find us on your favorite social media platform at VisualDevFM.